Good morning, it's 7:30 and I thought I'd do a bit of a day in the life, but not a day in the life of me, a day in the life of how I make sourdough. So lots of people told me they fell in love with baking sourdough during lockdown, but they don't have the time anymore because they're back in the office, their lives are busy again. My life is as busy as anyone else's, and I thought I would show you a video how I fit sourdough into my busy schedule. First thing I need to do is I need to mix my base dough. 500 grams of white flour, and because I like the flavour of it, 100 grams of white spelt. So that's our 100%. We have a kilo of flour. I am going to add my starter because my starter, can you see that, is lovely and bubbly. There is no need when you have a starter that active to make a levain. And for that, I'm going to need 200 grams. To that, I'm going to add 650 grams of cold water. Just want to mix the two together, and we just want to hydrate and mix. Get your hands in there. Make sure all of that flour, there's no dry bits of flour. And that's what we're after. This hydrated shaggy dough. So that's taken me about 15 minutes. That's probably the longest within the process that it's going to take me. I'm now going to a video shoot, then I'm going into the office, then I'm going to see my dad. So I'll be home hopefully about 6:30, 7 o'clock. So that bread, or the dough, which hasn't had any salt added to it, so that's our ortolese, going to sit in the fridge quite happily, feeding away very, very slowly for 12 hours. Today we're shooting barbecues. So we're back to the office. I'm off to my dad's. Here with my dad. Hey, I spend about hour and a half with him. What? Then back home. Who? You. Right. I'm home and it's 6:45. So that is 11 hours. 11 hours exactly since I made my dough. So that's my dough. Yes, there's a bit of skin on it, but that skin will disappear. I'm going to add 20 grams of salt and 30 grams of water. So absolutely see how smooth that dough is. All of that protein is hydrated. The gluten structure is already there. So there's our dough, which I'm going to leave, and I'm going to stretch and fold throughout the evening. I'm going to add a bit more water, so I'm going to take the hydration, in total is going to be 70%, so that needs another 20 grams of water, which I could add now. Day number 2, and this morning there's nothing to do because our dough's in the fridge. I'm not going to bake it till this evening. So I'll see you this evening. Very good. Good at home. The key to this is making sure you have a really bubbly starter. I don't bake with a levain anymore. I only use starter. My starter cuts a big chunk out of the whole process, and I just use a very, very active starter. But because I bake regularly, at least every day or every other day, my starter is super active. If your starter isn't active, you're not going to get nice bread. But honestly, I made the dough yesterday morning at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m. I made dough without any levain. There was ortolese, so there was no salt in the dough. I simply mixed the dough, and it was 65% hydration. I put it in the fridge for 12 hours. I had a very busy day, as you can see from my video. I then came home 12 hours later, so around 7 p.m. I then added my 20 grams of salt, I added 50 grams more water, and I mixed that into the dough. Throughout the evening until I went to bed, Periodically, I stretched and folded, but a lot of the gluten structure had happened whilst it was in the fridge, so it wasn't no need to keep on stretching and folding. What I was doing essentially was bringing the dough up to temperature. Once the dough was up to temperature at 11 o'clock, before I went to bed, I shaped the dough into loaves. The dough then went into the fridge. The loaves went into the fridge, and they've been in there since 11 p.m. last night. I've come home, I've got changed into my civvies or my old baking jumper. It's 6:30. I have put my cloche in the oven. I turned my oven on to max. By the time it comes up to temperature, it'll be about 7 o'clock, which will be 32 hours exactly since I baked the dough. In total, it's probably taken me about, I don't know, half an hour's work, scattered throughout, but it's just a matter of coming back and forth to it. And yeah, I'm going to show you how the dough looks once it's been scored and baked, and you're going to see how I fit sourdough into my busy life. The key to this is making sure you have a really bubbly starter. I don't bake with a levain anymore. I only use starter. My starter cuts a big chunk out of the whole process, and I just use a very, very active starter. For the geeks, this is 70% hydration, so I haven't cut back the hydration at all. This is mostly white, and there's a little bit of spelt flour in it. So it's 90% white and 10% spelt, and it's 70% hydration. Sourdough. Maybe not perfect, but perfectly good for me.